Pranay ji,
Yes.
You can hear me. No?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Just a minute.
ના ઓન થઈ ગયો, 1 મિનિટ ઓન થઈ ગયો, પણ બાકી બધાનો પણ બંધ કરવું પડે. મારું તો અનમ્યુટ થયું છે, પણ તમે મને નથી દેખાતા આનામાં. વિડીયો ઠીક છે પણ ઓન ક્યાં હોય છે? તમે તમારું નામ તો નથી દેખાતું. 38 પાર્ટિસિપન્ટ છે.
હું BCS જે કરીને લખેલું છે ને.
ઓકે, તો તમે જ છો એ હોસ્ટ. ઓકે, નો પ્રોબ્લેમ. ઠીક છે. 2-3 મિનિટમાં ચાલુ કરશું. પ્રણયભાઈ ઓન છે ને? એમના સાથે વાત થઈ ગઈ? ઓકે.
Hello friends.
Yeah.
So our today's session is on cyber security and data protection during COVID-19. The rapid progression of COVID-19 has resulted in a widespread challenges in the working environment for both the public as well as private sector worldwide. So many people have started, like employees have also started work from home. So that brings a lot of challenges also when we are working from home. So because of that, we have planned this session, and now I request Kamlesh Bhai to introduce our speaker, today's speaker. Kamlesh Bhai, can you take over from here?
Yeah, thank you, Praful Bhai. Hello.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you. Almost we are now participants of 60 plus. Let me introduce to the today's speaker. Mr. Pranay Bhai is a practicing chartered accountant with a professional qualification of postgraduate diploma in information technology. He is also having a degree of CISA and DISA. He has done a diploma in the cyber law. He is having a 15 years of experience in the field of information security and information system audit. He has worked with all the regulators in India for carrying out system audits of critical infrastructure of national importance. So with these words, I request now Pranay Bhai to take over and give us an insight as to the what security features, what are the security threats we'll be having. Already people are thinking about with the Zoom, there are a lot of problems which have been said about the securities. So what can be done to keep us away from all those security threats which are there? So Pranay Bhai.
Sir, you'll have to give me permission to share my screen. Kamlesh bhai, you'll have to give me permission to share my screen.
Yeah, just a minute.
I think people can keep their videos off so that it is less bandwidth consuming.
Pranay bhai, can you?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
इसको निकाल उधर से तार इधर कर थोड़ा वो लगा ले लगा
Can you please, everybody, can you please keep your video and mic
Audio
on
off.
mute so that
Request to all participants once
Pranay bhai,
again.
there is on the down mute all option is there. Can you just
okay? So I think now everybody is on mute. Okay. So good evening, everybody. Let us start with today's session. So what we are planning is because of this lockdown and because of the situation that we all are working from home, or somehow we are able to manage our business and profession, in whatever ways, best ways that we can. So being at home has also given a lot of opportunity to these fraudsters, to people to take advantage of this kind of a situation. So what we will do today is I'll take you through some frauds which have been reported in the media, which have been widely reported and which people have fallen prey to, plus some basic tips and tricks on how we can mitigate those frauds, how we can make ourselves a little more secure than the others. So this is the agenda of today's session. So we start with that. So first is, so like every auditor gives a disclaimer, I also have a disclaimer that I am making this presentation on a best effort basis. There is no representation or warranties made by the organizer, that is BCS, with regard to the presentation. All the views are my own views and do not represent the views of BCS. So during my presentation, I have used a lot of logos of multiple service providers, trademarks. So they all belong to them. I am not promoting any particular vendor or trademark or any particular brand. It's just there for an easy understanding of the concept. And once after the presentation, if you feel you want to take some steps, you please do at your own risk. I would not be responsible if something goes wrong. Okay, so small disclaimer and let us start. So what has this pandemic got for us? It has got a lot of surge in social media activity. A lot of people are logged on to Twitter, to Facebook, to express their views, also to see what the entire world is also posting. There's a surge in online meetings and events like this. We never had these kind of meetings in maybe 4 months back, but last 2-3 months, everybody is on an online meeting, online collaboration, online events like this. Surge in use of games, surge in download of mobile apps, TikTok, all the other video apps or games or educational apps. A huge surge in download of these apps, increase in online activities like watching movies or educational courses or downloading of movies or watching pornography. So all there is a huge surge in online activity. Increase in online banking, obviously because we are not allowed to go out of home, and increase in online news consumption. A very important part is because apart from TV, we also consume a lot of news and information from the internet or from online medium like WhatsApp or any other medium. But because of all this online activity, increase in online activity, there's also an increase in online frauds or online malicious activities by fraudsters. Now, what are those? Let us see few frauds which were reported. So the first is the EMI moratorium fraud. So when the lockdown was announced, the RBI, the Prime Minister also came up that okay, all the people who are not able to pay their loan, cannot pay their installments on time, the banks are going to give a moratorium period of 2 to 3 months and allow them to pay in a deferred manner. But then the fraudsters made an intelligent idea out of this and said that, okay, fine. So they started calling up people, saying that we're calling from XYZ bank. If you want to defer your moratorium, we are helping you. We are going to verify your details and you please give us your details and an OTP which will come. So what essentially they were doing was they were performing an online transaction basis of whatever information that they had, and to complete the transaction they were calling you for an OTP. A lot of people were not aware of this. They did not think of it, shared a lot of their personal information as well as the OTP, and were defrauded by huge amounts of money. So this prompted all the banks. So the image that you see is the Twitter taken from the Twitter handle of SBI, wherein the banks had to come out and say that we are not going to ask for any kind of an OTP. We are not asking for any personal information to postpone their loan and EMIs. But by the time this could come out, by the time the banks could react, a lot of people were already duped. A lot of amount was already transferred into those accounts. Second was a very fantastic case of the PM CARES fund. So the Prime Minister announced that he will, for the sake of benefit of the nation, we are holding a fund and people can contribute to that fund towards the fight of this virus. The handle which was created was the PM CARES at SBI. Now is the starting multiple UPI IDs with similar sounding names or similar looking name. So there was PM Care at YBL or PM Care at UPI or PM Cares at HDFC Bank, so that, and a person who was not aware, a person who was not very attentive to that ID would simply send it to the wrong account. So if you also see how this was PM Care at SBI, there was one more very similar looking like PM Care at SBI. There was only a difference of one single S. So person who was not attentive enough was sending them, although he had a very good intention, he had a very good intention of contributing towards the nation, but it went to the wrong IDs. So this also prompted the government and also the cyber. So this image that we see here on the right is the image published by the Hyderabad police, and this is by the government organization, the Press Information Bureau, where they had to come out and say that all these are fake IDs. Please transfer it only to the PM CARES at SBI. But by the time this could come out, By the time this realized, a lot of crores of rupees were transferred into these fake accounts. Another example was this malicious app. So this app was basically, app said that if you want to find out in your location, which is the, I think voice is not stable. Okay. Are you able to hear me? I am getting the message that the voice is not clear.
It's cracking in between.
Yeah.
Is
But
it?
it's better. There must be some technical issues with the internet and other things. But I think much better there.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so this app was basically, this app said that if you want to find out that who all are infected in your area, in your locality, nearby your building, nearby the place where you stay, please download this app and we will show you the map on where your people are infected so that you can be safe and you do not venture into those areas. So a lot of people downloaded this app and gave the permissions, like what we always do is accept. So many people did simply accept, gave permission to the mobile, to the app to access all the details on the mobile phone. And what happened was the phone got encrypted. So this was a ransomware attack through this app. The phone got encrypted and a ransomware demand was made to the person that if you want everything in your mobile back, if you want to access all your data back, if you want all your settings, all your apps, everything back, you have to please pay whatever the ransomware amount was, and they demanded. If you do not pay within that time, we are going to not open your phone or not allow you to access your phone. So classic example of a ransomware attack where the attackers or the fraudsters were playing with the emotions or with the fear of people. They knew that people are very fearing this virus because it is traveling by contact, by even going near a infected person. So they took advantage of this kind of activity and ransomware attacks were launched in the market. Next is a very nice, intelligent thing was they made a corona antivirus. So they promised, so the site promised that our antivirus is going to protect you from the virus. So what a fantastic idea where they made, and they thought, and people actually believed them, downloaded this antivirus so that to keep them protected from the coronavirus without realizing that what they were downloading was nothing but a malware which was logging all the keys into the key on the keyboard. So the malware installed a keylogger which was logging all the keystrokes and transmitting that information back to the attacker. So if I'm using net banking through my laptop or I'm doing any other activity through my laptop, everything was getting transmitted to the attackers. So this kind of an antivirus was also very popularly being published throughout the world. A lot of people fell prey to this kind of an antivirus and they had to get infected by all malicious content. Next is, widely spread across India also. An SMS was being sent immediately after the lockdown was announced. An SMS was sent that, I think again the voice is cracking, so improved. Okay. I think some people are unable to hear.
Yeah, I think so in between your voice is cracking, but then again it settles down.
I think some people are able to hear clearly. Some are right.
Yeah. That is only depends on the internet speed of the people who are not able to hear. That might be speed is lacking there.
So I would request everybody to at least mute their so that it will be easier. So I am checking my bandwidth is all stable, so it is not varying over here. Anyway, so we'll continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So so the Netflix, so on 21st or 22nd, when the lockdown was announced, on the very same day, a message was traveling across multiple mobile phones that Netflix is giving a free pass for a 3-month period to watch Netflix for free. And please click on this link if you want to activate this offer. Now, what was happening was Netflix was not giving anything free, but they wanted to capitalize on the free time that people were forcing, and it was the starting of the period. So everybody thought, okay, we'll enjoy, we'll have some entertainment through Netflix, and they downloaded. So again, they clicked on the links to activate it, and again, what happened was their mobile phones were infected with the malicious codes or ransomware attacks, or if they used it through laptops, their laptops were also under ransomware attacks, or keyloggers or another malicious codes were downloaded into their devices. And this was spreading through SMS, and then people copied this SMS and put it on WhatsApp. And within minutes, the entire nation had these messages, and everybody was trying to download this Netflix free app or free subscription. Another example of a phishing mail, wherein a mail would come supposedly from WHO, stating that we are very concerned about your safety and security. Please download this attachment and verify whether you are whether you have any symptoms or whether you are under any kind of infection. So this email came from the WHO mail ID with a WHO signature, logo, everything, but essentially it was a phishing mail. Once you download the attachment, your system is hitting. Somebody's audio is on. Okay, so that is fine. So this kind of messages, so these kind of emails were, such mails were spread across the world, wherein a lot of people received these kind of mails, and whoever downloaded this attachment got infected. Another message which was traveling is to find out whether you have any symptoms of COVID-19, and if you have, when to get tested in your geographical area, please visit this particular link. Again, similar, you have, once you click on this link, some personal information was asked, or you were supposed to download a particular app and get infected. Okay, one very nice example and very latest one, where which were reported in Times of India on 19th of April, about 2-3 days back, and this is Mumbai Mirror on 20th of April. Okay, where people had, so because of free time, a lot of people were watching pornography on the internet, and so fraudsters took advantage of this. An email would be sent to the person that we have your password and make it authentic, and said that now we have recorded everything that you have. We have access to your webcam, we have access to all your online activity and sites you have, and what all you have been watching in the last few days. If you don't pay us 1,500 or 2,000 bitcoins, we are going to make it public. We will ensure that your entire online activity is gone public. Many people have received such kind of mails, some or the entire password written in the mail. So just because the password was written and they thought that, okay, if somebody is watching me, a lot of people started paying this ransomware. And the fraudsters got a lot of money out of this. But in essential or actual, they did not have all this information, but they were just playing with the fear of the people. And okay, so again, this was reported in the media that beware of these online extortion. So these are called as sextortion or crypto blackmail, wherein people were blackmailed only for whatever pornographic material that they were viewing online. Again, many of these cases are still going on. Lot of people are receiving these kind of messages. And if they go to the police is busy with all the other activities, and they don't have time to investigate or to find out, the actual person, or to find out who has sent these kind of mails. But by that time, lot of people are falling prey to these. Another social media fraud on Facebook or everywhere you may find that people are posting a photograph of a wine, saying that they are delivering free liquor to your home, and please WhatsApp, or please pay and transfer payment to this number or to this wallet, and within 1 hour we'll deliver it free to you. Lot of people who have this habit of for this liquor, and they thought, fine, we are getting it free home delivery, let us pay for it. And what happened was, they were all duped. Lot of money was transacted, but none of these liquors were transferred to their homes. So if you see, they were clicking pictures of well-known liquor shops in those areas, but with wrong details and wrong numbers, and simply they were getting all the money into their account. So again, this is a report of Pune Mirror, reported on 6th of April 2020. So people are all taking advantage of the boredom that we are situated at home, the fear that we have, the the online business opportunities that they saw, and they were all taking advantage of all these kind of situations to simply dupe gullible customers. So all these, so there are many more. I have just covered the most popular ones, or the most widely published ones. There are many more such rackets. Some are also involving some NGOs, where people are making fake NGOs and sending a message, a nicely emotional message, that we are going to feed 1,000 people or 2,000 people. We need money. You please pay us, and we want to help in feeding the poor. But in essential, they were all fake. They were all fraudsters who never did such activities, and people thinking that they are doing some good activity, paid, but did not get any benefit out of it. So these are the sectors which were targeted. So this is a poll conducted by McAfee, where they found out that the most wide sector which was getting infected or was the medical sector, the for false sanitizers, false PPEs, for blood cures. So a lot of people were going on the internet to find out cures for for the corona, for Ayurvedic cures or homemade cures or any other cure through which they can keep themselves secure. Now these cures, because the fraudsters, the hackers knew that people are looking for cures, lot of fake websites were created, lot of fake URLs were created in the name of corona, and which were attracting people to their websites. And if they downloaded anything, or if they accessed anything, or given some personal information, all their information and data was getting lost, or the systems are getting corrupted or infected. So these are the case of medical. Then the finance sector, which is always under tremendous attack by these people during this period, because they knew that people were all going to perform online transactions, online banking. So this sector was also highly under target. And the third most important was the education, the tuition and the collaboration tools. Tools like what we are using now. Zoom is always under the scanner for a long time. Online education courses, where people knew that, because this came at a time when the lockdown was announced, when most of these schools had exams, or they were about to finish their curriculum, or about 1 month of school was remaining, so they had to complete through online education courses. So this sector was also tremendously under target. Okay, so this is where these fraudsters were prominently, they were active in these domains. Okay, so these are all the different frauds that were committed, or the different ways in which people were getting benefited out of by committing these crimes. So let us see what are the ways that we can protect ourselves, the way that we can protect our data, the way that we can protect our own self, the way that we can protect our family members from these kind of attacks, or from falling prey to any of these particular kinds of fraud or scams that are happening in the market. So very simple tips I'm going to give you. Nothing very technical also, but very simple tips. If we follow, we will be able to secure ourselves to a large extent. First is beware of all the phishing scams. We all know what phishing is, wherein a malicious looking mail will come and it will ask you for some personal information, or it will ask you to download some malicious attachment, or it is going to ask you to help. So somebody's grandfather has died in Africa and now they want to send all the money outside Africa, so they need your help. Or lot of older people fall prey to these Facebook friend requests. Supposedly a good looking female is sending a request, and then they get attracted, and then they start talking and chatting, and then finally they are asked to share some money for some gift, and all those lot of things are reported in the media every day. In the newspaper you would be reading it. So we have to be aware of these kind of phishing scams. 90% of the fraud, 90% of the scams happen only because of these kind of emails or these kind of malicious apps or malicious codes which are there in the market. So we have to be very beware of these kind of phishing attacks. And whatsoever may happen, we are not supposed to give any kind of personal information, banking information, personal information, credit card details, anything. Please do not give. If you want to check, please check for the legitimate website. If you feel that this has come from a particular bank, please close it, go back to the bank website and verify whether it has actually come from there or not. Another way of verifying is to verify whether the website or the news is fake or not. Okay, so there are certain websites on which you can go and verify whether a particular message, a particular news, a particular image, anything that you feel is genuine or not. You can go there, verify whether it is genuine or not, and then take action. So certain sites, like the first two are particularly international sites for international news. The rest with .in domains, they are particularly for India, wherein you can go and check all the news pertaining to Indian. So whatever that you find on WhatsApp, whatever that you find on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, you can go back and verify whether it is genuine or not. And then based on that, you can take action. You could also do a Google reverse image search. So wherein, if you see on the bottom right hand corner, wherein, so this is through Webkuf, but you could put an image to Google and verify what is the source of the image used on any other website, what is the origin of the image, and you will find comparisons that, okay, this was the original image, this is a morphed image, or this is the modified image with the wrong context or with the wrong news. You could also do a Times fact check. So Times of India has a feature of Times fact check. You could go there and verify whether a particular news is fake or not. Webkuf by the Quint is another medium through which you could verify if the news is, or whatever information that you have gone, whether it is fake or not. A very fantastic tool to verify before you can take any action on anything that you have received. Something which is a no-brainer is secure your passwords. Very simple. So if people get access to your password, they get access to your entire digital life. So it is best to save your passwords, to secure your passwords, change your passwords regularly, change all the default passwords that have come along with your devices. So if you buy a new router, so if it's a D-Link router, so the default login ID is admin, the default password is admin, and which is widely known. So if you do not change the default password, you are making it easy for an attacker, because he already knows the default login ID password, and it's very easy to guess or very easy to log in onto those kind of systems. So first thing, whenever you buy a new device, a new laptop with a Windows, so Windows also has a default login ID of administrator and blank password. So whenever you buy these kind of systems or devices which is helping you to connect to the internet, please change all the default passwords. Log out after each online session. Have strong passwords for all devices and online accounts. Okay. Remember, if you want to use the remember password feature of your browser, please use it only if you trust the other people who are going to use that PC. So suppose if there are multiple people in your home now, so when you're at home, there are multiple people who may be using the same laptop or desktop. And if you trust the others, then only you use the same remember password or save password feature. If no, please do not use this feature. It may be, I know it is tiring to enter the password every time and remembering so many passwords, but that is the way of life now. We have to remember these passwords. Or you could use a password vault, another way of storing your password, but again that is risky. Then if possible, enable two-factor authentication for all your online sessions, so that you have multiple factors, more than your password. You have one more factor which is going to help you. Do not use the same password for everything. All your online online account, your mail account, Facebook account, everything, if they have the same password, if one is compromised, chances of all of them getting compromised is very high. If you're using an unsecured network, please don't enter your passwords over there. Don't click on unknown links and enter any kind of a password if it is asked on an unknown link. Okay. Do not store your passwords. That is setting. Do not share your passwords with anyone, and don't use simple and easily guessable passwords. So these are very commonly tips for passwords. Then secure your devices. So now when we are at home, some of us may have the office laptop or the company laptop or the corporate laptop, but some of us may be forced to use our own personal laptops. So wherever possible, to the extent it is possible, please use your company provided laptop or a corporate laptop. Please do not use your personal laptop. If you have no choice, if you have no option, you can at least do not mix your work and leisure activities on the same device. So a lot of people who watch porn or who download movies from the internet. So along with that free movie, you get a lot of things free, which in the background may have infected your machine or infected your computer. And then if you do your corporate work or you do your office work, chances of data stealing, data leakages, or your systems getting compromised is very, very high. So ideally, I would say that do not mix it. Have two separate devices for if wherever possible. If it is not possible, at least you encrypt your data, which is there in your hard disk. So if you're using Windows Enterprise version or Ultimate version or Professional version, Windows provides this feature free of cost, which is inbuilt into the Windows. The Home Edition and the Home Premium and the Home Basic editions do not have this feature of encryption. So you can use encryption to encrypt the data which is there in your laptop. So even if the data is copied or compromised, at least it is encrypted and it may not make any sense to the person who's getting that data. Please ensure to lock your computer when you get up. Otherwise, if you have children at home, small children, they are waiting to get access to the machine. And as soon as you get up, they will come and access those machines, and then knowingly, unknowingly, they may download any software, download apps, or download any other activity which can get your machine to risk. Okay, so ensure that you lock your computers, or you can create separate user IDs. So within your Windows operating system, you can create multiple user IDs. So you can create separate user IDs for separate set of people, so that whatever work that you are doing is at least in one particular location, and not shared with the other users. Again, update your operating system. All the people who are using pirated operating systems, please discontinue this practice. Now the days of piracy are gone. Please ensure that you use a genuine Microsoft operating system and you update it on a frequent basis. So every Tuesday, Microsoft releases a set of patches wherein security updates, patches for your Microsoft Windows operating system. Please update it on a periodic basis, so that your operating system is fairly secured. Because if your operating system is not secured, or if you are using a pirated operating system, you will not get these updates and patches. Chances of getting compromised is very, very high, because these vulnerabilities that are there in your operating system are known to people And if they find these vulnerabilities, they have a way of entering into our system, into our network. So it is best to use genuine Microsoft operating system and to keep your operating system updated at all points of time. So Microsoft also releases a set of hardening guidelines which you can follow to harden your systems to make it more difficult for the attacker to enter into your systems. Next is a very important part. Please secure your network. Okay, so now today when we are at home and we want to access our office systems, we want to access our data which is stored in our office system, you can use a concept of VPN, that is a virtual private network. So what is a virtual private network? You are connected to the internet and your office systems are also connected to the internet. Through the internet, you can get access to your office systems or your company systems. But because the internet is a very unsecure medium, chances of somebody eavesdropping or chances of somebody attacking the connection between and getting the information is very high. So a VPN creates an encrypted tunnel through their internet so that the traffic is only visible to the two devices which are talking to each other. Not very difficult to create. Windows again has a feature. So if your server is again Windows server, and so there a VPN is inbuilt, a VPN client is inbuilt into it. Your desktops have a VPN client inbuilt. Users have to create that VPN, connect to your office systems, and you are creating a secure connection through a public connection through your internet. Makes it much secure to transmit data between the two devices. Again, since we are at home, we are working at home, we are all connected to the same Wi-Fi. So you have multiple mobile phones connected to the Wi-Fi, your laptop or desktop connected to the Wi-Fi, but you also have other IoT devices or other Internet of Things devices, that is a smart speaker, smart TV, smart fridge, smart camera. They are also connected to the same Wi-Fi. Mobile phone, but these devices don't get secure because they don't get updated or maybe they are not patched with the latest patches. And if somebody gets access to your Wi-Fi, gets access to those devices, they all can get access to your same network through your through those devices. They get access to your laptops and desktops or mobile phones which are part of the same network. So one way is to protect these kind of systems is to segregate your network. Create a separate network. So you can create two networks, one for your IoT devices and one for your work purposes or work devices, that is laptops, desktops or mobile phones. So that if one network is compromised, the containment happens only within that network, and other network is secured. Now, how do we do this? There are two ways of doing this. Either we buy two different routers and connect it to one internet gateway router, or within the same router, we can create two different networks. So this is called LAN segmenting. You can create two different networks, one for your IoT devices and one for your laptop and your office devices. This will make it with a network, you also need to secure your Wi-Fi. So if you're using Wi-Fi, most of us use Wi-Fi for our connectivity, you could create a, I think the voice is okay. So you can create a, so again, separate network. Ensure that you have a WPA to PSK advanced encryption standard enabled, which is the highest level of security. Please don't use your neighbor's password, neighbor's Wi-Fi, and don't allow neighbors to use your Wi-Fi because they may not be secured. You may be secured, but because of their non-security, you may get compromised. So ensure that you have a strong password which is enabled and strong WPA to PSK connected, and have your segregation of networks within your Wi-Fi. So I'm getting some questions. I will take the questions at the last because it becomes difficult to read the messages and also concentrate on the presentation, but I'll answer all questions at the end. Next is, because we are now heavily dependent on the internet, and we need to connectivity to the internet for all our activities, whether it's online banking, news, anything that we want to do online. It is also important to secure our internet connectivity. The best way is to have a firewall. So firewall is a device which is sitting between the internet and your laptop, desktop, or your office network or your home network. So before you connect to the internet, all your traffic has to flow through the firewall. So now when all businesses are closed, we cannot purchase a firewall. So the best way is Windows comes with a free firewall. Although it is very basic, very elementary, but it is so some security is better than no security. You can activate the firewall. You can configure the firewall so that it is giving you some level of security. If you have an antivirus, which is also internet security based antivirus, then your antivirus will also have an inbuilt firewall. But then those firewalls allow travel through. So you need to configure them to go out and in network. So it becomes your first line of defense from the internet, wherein you can prevent, or so this firewall acts like a security guard who's sitting between the internet and your network and trying to verify whether you are an allowed traffic or not, whether you are not allowed traffic, and it will stop the traffic which is not allowed and only allow traffic which is permitted to enter on either ways. Okay, so firewall is very important device which you can help. Okay, so firewalls also have an inbuilt proxy server or inbuilt content filter. So you can also filter the kind of websites that can be visited from by accessing the internet. You can also filter the, so you can create a filter for only social media. So all social media will be blocked, or pornography or news or whatever, based on keywords, based on create rules to have content filtering through the firewall. Okay, so these features of firewall are also important and good for your security. Okay, so next is email security. So if you are using Gmail, so it is fairly secured, not a problem. But if you are using any other service provider, or if you are using server, then ensure that the mail servers are also secured enough, and encryption, at bare minimum encryption for data in transit is enabled. So Gmail has encryption policy, and it is fairly good, and it encrypts your data which is at rest and motion, but then it is limited. Okay, so it is limited. So but email is one way. 90% of the attacks happen through the phishing attacks. So you get these malicious mails. So it is better to have security over your email. Next is your antivirus. Very no-brainer. Everybody now knows an importance of an antivirus. So computer viruses are all as good as this coronavirus. Like we are fearful of going to an unknown person or interacting now with an unknown person or even shaking hands with an unknown person, we should also avoid opening emails from unknown people and visiting untrusted websites or pornographic websites or all these other free websites which are offering free software or free games or free things, because nothing is free on the internet. They all come with their own set of free things. So use a genuine antivirus. So I have just shown a few images of few popular antiviruses. Any enough for you, you can use. It should serve its purpose. And the antivirus has to be updated always at all points of time. And you should frequently scan your machines, scan all your drives, all your external hard disk, removable drives, and your hard disk for at least once in a week, to ensure that none of these other malwares are sitting inside or viruses are sitting inside your machine. Next is you can protect your mobile devices. Now, because we also use mobile devices for a lot of our office work, for a lot of our communication work. So it is always better to secure your mobile devices. So there are antiviruses available for mobile devices also. You could, if you feel that you need it, you could purchase one of those antiviruses and install for your mobile. Lot of these high-end phones, especially the Samsung and the other high-end phones, they have an inbuilt antivirus coming along with it. But if your phone does not have, you could invest in antivirus, cheap, and but it is going to give a lot of security. Second is, do not download apps from untrusted sources. The only way that you can download an app is through the Play Store, that is for the Android, and the app stores for the Apple phones. Using untrusted sources for mobile apps is very, very dangerous because they are not scanned. They do not come through the policy of the Play Store or the App Store, which so Play Store and App Store have their own set of processes for empanelment of these apps and listing these apps. They undergo a rigorous process of verification, and then only they allow these apps to be listed there. So please do not download from any other source apart from Play Store and App Store. Android phones also have a feature wherein you can tick mark. So there's a feature within your settings that allow apps to be downloaded from untrusted sources. So that has to be disabled, so that any other app, any other APK file does not get into your mobile phone. Again, back up your data religiously. So now all dependent on data that is there. Either it was there in our office systems or on the cloud or anywhere else. And now that data backup or those data is helping us to complete our work on when we are sitting at home. So backup is very important. You could back up to an external device. You could back up to the cloud. So there are many of these cloud features wherein you get a lot of space and you could store your data over there. Multiple people could use that data. If you are very finicky about storing your data on the cloud, then you could have an offsite server or an offsite device where you could store your data. But storing your data outside your office is now becoming very important, so that if there is any compromise in your office systems or in your other locations, at least your data is secured in the third location. If you plan to store your data on the cloud or if you plan to store your data outside your offices, always better to encrypt backup data. Because otherwise you have created a nice backup, you have created a nice system, and then you are giving it to the attacker, here, please, this entire data is there, you please take it away. If it is an encrypted format, it is difficult for the person to even make any sense out of it. So even if you use a tool like WinRAR for creating a zip file, or even WinRAR has a feature of encrypting it or password protecting the backup. Although not very we can say not very strong enough as a security measure, but at least it has some basic security features available to you. If you're using a backup solution or a solution to back up your data, you could use that to encrypt your backup media, so that even if it is outside your office or outside your home or outside your access, at least it is there in encrypted format, not easily readable by anybody. So this has again, from a business continuity point of view, I'm sure many of us would be facing this hurdle of not getting access to our licensed software, not getting access to our data in which is there in our offices. So you could move your practice to the cloud. A lot of cloud-based tools for cloud-based GST software, many of these cloud-based practice management systems, cloud-based solutions which are available, which you could use, which you could feel, whichever that you feel is good enough for you, you could subscribe to the services, that you now get access to your services, you get access to your data, your licenses sitting anywhere. Again, if you are thinking of not putting your data to the cloud and you feel cloud is not a secure medium, then you could use something like a VPN to establish connectivity between your home system and your office system, and you are part of the same network. As good as your office network, you are accessing it from home. So that is one way in which you could use it. So once you have implemented all these security measures, it is not that only by implementing one that you are safe enough. So you have to keep on testing it. You can test if your antivirus is getting updated frequently or not. You can test whether a firewall rules are properly configured or not. You can test whether our operating systems are getting updated or not. Okay, so all this testing has to happen on a periodic basis. Although now, once you start implementing in the next 3 months or 6 months, you should be able to test your security measures and verify whether they are actually working or not. If you cannot do it on your own, you can hire experts. So there are a lot of experts even within our community who can help you to carry out this assessment and tell you whether your systems are secure or not. Most important, the highly non-technical is create awareness. Educate, educate, educate. Educate your employees, educate your family members, educate your children, educate the small children that are in your home. Please educate on the security measures, on the different attacks like phishing, ransomware, all the different attacks. Please educate them so that they are also aware. So you may be attending sessions like this. Multiple such sessions happen across India. You may have attended many such like this. You may be aware, but if your family members are not aware, if your children are not aware, then again they create a biggest risk for you. So please help them to understand these concepts. Help them to how they can be secure, how they should not leak a lot of this personal information online. Controlled use of social media, not to give a lot of information online on social media, which again goes against them when people start stalking them or start getting a lot of their information. So education and awareness is the key. This is the best way that we can prevent this kind of attacks, this kind of scams from happening. So in conclusion, cyber security just like ABC. So we always have to be careful. Anytime the attackers are all active, they are all behind us, behind our data, behind our money, behind our systems. And if one mistake that we do and our entire entire life is getting compromised. So just be careful and follow these simple tips which are going to help you to be a little more secure. So these are my contact details. If anybody is interested in getting touch with me, you can please get in touch and I'll be happy to, guide and help. Okay. So now we'll take some questions which have come through chat and then maybe we'll I'll again scroll up and then take each question. Okay. Okay. So most of this is so someone posted the Netflix premium, the message of Netflix which was coming for 2 months. Okay, so here again there is one more message of the similar kind. Okay, so the question is when the mobile is locked, can somebody break in the mobile apps or any data that are stored? These data may have passwords also for some people. I mean, when the mobile is locked. If your mobile is locked, so now your mobile phone, you install some app, a malicious app, which has some dangerous activity or dangerous intention to do it. So even if your mobile is locked, that is not stopping the app from accessing the data in the background or in the, even if so only thing is if your mobile phone is switched on, but it is locked, still the app is working in the background, your internet connectivity may be on. So this app is working in the background and it can access all your data, all your passwords, whatever that is stored in your mobile phone. So even if your phone is locked, does not mean that you are very, very secure. No. Can we use Windows Defender, which is inbuilt Windows tool as antivirus? Yes. Windows Defender is also a good antivirus, which is coming along with your Windows operating system. But again, it is a very basic elementary level of antivirus. If you want to use better features of like a firewall or internet protection or all the other advanced features of an antivirus, I would suggest to go with any other third-party antivirus. Which one? I would not recommend any, because all of them are good and all of them are equally bad. But the institute has a tie-up with, I think, Quick Heal, where they are giving it at a discounted rate. Quick Heal is also good. It is good enough for people to protect, or you can go for Kaspersky, Norton, McAfee, any one of your choice, depending on the features that they are providing at the price at which they are giving. Next question is Quick Heal Mobile Security. This is a free app. Is it sufficient for mobile? I don't think it would be free. If it is free, then you will get a lot of things free with the app, which I would suggest to avoid. So it is best to go with a paid version, a licensed version of the mobile app or the antivirus, because free will have something which is coming free which you may not realize. Okay, so where is there not a requirement to do drills and test regularly to confirm that it can be accessed and used as intended? Can data which has been stored on cloud be compromised or lost? So there are two parts to this question. Is if the data is getting stored on the cloud, whether we should have any drills and tests to confirm whether it can be accessed and used as intended. Perfectly, yes. You should be able to conduct a drill and verify at periodic intervals whether you have access to the data, whether you have access to the correct data, to the complete data at all points of time. Very, very important, because without a drill, without testing your measures, you may not be able to ascertain. And the day when you actually need it, desperately need it, you may find that some data is not accessible, some data is not available, some data is corrupted, some data do not get backed up, some data is lost. So drills and testing is very, very important to be done. Okay, so then another question scrolled up. Second part of the question is, can data which has been stored on cloud be compromised or lost? The answer is yes also and no also. Nothing on the internet is safe. Big companies like even companies like Amazon or Amazon and all the other Facebook, Yahoo, they were all under compromise at some point of time. So nothing on the internet is safe. As long as we feel that it is safe, it is safe. Otherwise, it is not safe. Okay, but then all these companies also have a lot of security measures implemented. They also constantly, they keep on tracking all these frauds which are happening, and they keep on implementing security measures. So to a large extent, if it's a good service provider with enhanced security measures, I think it is safe enough. But again, there is no guarantee. Tomorrow a new attacker may come in, he may get a new different kind of a vulnerability which he has packed, and the entire thing can be compromised. Next question is, how can one know in case keylogger or ransomware is installed in our cell phone? Okay, so ransomware is something which is going to encrypt your entire phone, and a single image will appear saying that I have locked your entire phone, and if you want to get access to your data, please pay me by Bitcoin, and an address will be given where you have to go and pay him in Bitcoin. So ransomware you'll immediately come to know. But with a keylogger, it is very difficult to find, because the keyloggers work in the background. They do not come in the foreground. They are all working behind the app. So whatever that you are typing is getting logged onto the keylogger and data is getting transmitted. So ways of finding out is, in case you have a firewall before your internet connectivity, your firewall logs can show you that, okay, what all websites are going, or which all IP addresses are getting accessed. Through that analysis, you will be able to find out IP addresses which are not supposed to be accessed, and some data is traveling to them. So that is one way of finding out. Another way is your antivirus, when if it is going to scan your system, it may detect it. Another way is your systems or your mobiles may become a little slow, and you will be able to find out what is working in the background. And if some malicious kind of activity is being seen, or some software which is running in the background is observed, then you know that then you have to do your analysis and find out if it's a keylogger or not. Okay, so next is one router, two SSID at home will work, or one main router connected via cable to other router and accordingly two SSID is good setup. Both are good enough. The second is better. So the question is whether I should work with one router and two SSID or two routers and two separate SSID. The best scenario is two routers and two different SSID. But if you don't want to invest in a two router setup, then you could do with one router and two different SSID. That is also sufficient. So there is somebody, so that I'll skip that question from Sujit, where he's asking how to get a digital signature certificate. So that is outside my scope, so I'll not take that. Securite endpoint security console is sufficient for server. Securite is yes, it's a antivirus. If you feel it is good enough, it is good. So antiviruses, somehow some antiviruses detect a virus, the other antivirus will not detect a virus. Some antiviruses mark Zoom as a virus, some do not. So I do not comment on a particular antivirus. If it is serving your purpose, if it is serving what it was supposed to do, then it is good enough as an antivirus. Then out of AnyDesk and TeamViewer, which is the safer one? Both of them are not safe, because AnyDesk and TeamViewer both are remote desktop connections, remote desktop systems. If you have an unattended session of AnyDesk or TeamViewer, that is where the recipient need not be there, sitting and verifying what is happening. If I am taking access, I can get direct access to the system, then it is more dangerous. So it is better to avoid using these remote desktop systems. So there is one question, Google Remote is secured. I didn't understand what is Google Remote. So I don't think Google has a feature of kind of AnyDesk or TeamViewer. If you can elaborate your question, I will be able to answer. I think there are no more questions. Okay, so okay, is Google incognito mode more secure? Yes. Compared to your normal browsing, if incognito mode is used, it is a little more secure, because whatever that you are, your online activity is not getting stored in cookies or in your, in your browser or in your system. So incognito mode is better than a normal session. Can we install anti-keylogger in our mobile? Your antivirus is again as good as a anti-keylogger. So if you have a good antivirus, it can prevent keyloggers from getting installed into your device, in your mobile, or even in your laptop or desktop. I think that is with all the questions. So now over to the BCS team.
Yes. Can we conclude now, Pranay bhai?
Yeah, if there are no more questions, you can.
Okay. Kamlesh bhai, you're there?
Hello.
Yeah.
You give the vote of things.
Yes, yes. So I think the session was very interactive, plus the knowledge which Pranay bhai has shared, it's way beyond the most popular, like, the racket of cyber threat and the ABC of the action plan to mitigate those risks. I think that was the best part. We know that due to lockdown system, mostly, all organization has started using work from home culture. So I'm sure this will definitely help us while, selecting the major security part. So overall, the presentation and the session was very good and interactive. So with this, I on behalf of the BCAs and the participant, I give this thing the thanks to speaker for giving the insight of the cyber threat knowledge. So with this, we conclude here. And once again, thank you all the participants for making successful of this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Shared some link to join the WhatsApp group. All the people who are still online, you could join it.
Okay.